With love top of mind this month, it's a good opportunity to show love to not only others, but also to yourself. And we want to start with your heart. Our next guest points out that our heart is the most important muscle in the body, no matter your age. Now is the time to make it stronger. Julie Labrum is the Director of Fitness at Treehouse Athletic Club. She's joining me here to share the biggest key to a healthy, happy heart. We owe that to ourselves, right? For Valentine's Day, all year round.
All year round. Let's go.
All right. Well, kind of walk us through. I mean, we hear a lot, the benefits, but what exactly are the benefits? Just kind of key in on that. Well, main takeaways.
You're right. The muscle of the heart is the most important muscle. So what we want to do is focus on the benefits of it, which is. You're not going to be out of breath doing the things that you love. You have vigor, vitality, zest. You have kind of a youthful pep in your step. Right. Everything becomes a little easier. Your longevity, your quality of life just improves. So that's also what we're after.
Yeah, and we're hearing a lot, too, that you want to mix it up, right? We want to make sure we're getting our aerobic exercise, but also lifting weights as well, especially the older we get.
Exactly. Lifting weights, you can get a cardiovascular response. In fact, we want to know that any activity you do is going to create a cardiovascular response, but we want to work in a little bit harder efforts because the heart can't lift weights. So in order for it to get stronger as a muscle, it has to beat, meaning we have to push ourselves to a little bit of an uncomfort zone, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, before we get to that, so how much time should we be devoting every week on, cardiovascular exercise?
It's a great question because we have so many things we want to fit in, right? We want to lift weights, we want to do this. But cardiovascular work, I would say moderate work, where it's sustainable and it's just pleasant, that kind of thing, we want 20 to 30 minutes a day. And we can do that every day.
That's doable, right?
Yeah. After you lift weights, just hop on the treadmill or something, do an incline for 20, 30 minutes. If you're going to be doing vigorous work, I would love to see a 20, 30-minute vigorous work 3 times a week. So we're pushing ourselves to our uncomfort zone in those 3 days a week. But everything else, just every day is 20, 30 minutes moderate.
Okay, so in order for us to, when you say vigorous, right? So how would we define that? Because, we're all different athletic abilities.
Right.
But how would you want us to get started on this vigorous, and how do we determine that?
So vigorous is going to look like a feeling, okay? So let's talk about the feeling. So vigorous is where you get breathless. Your mouth is open, you're breathing, you need more air. I like to also visualize the heart as being efficient as it's pumping more oxygen per beat. So the stronger the muscle gets, you're going to be pumping more volume of blood and oxygen to the muscle. As far as a strong muscle goes, your heart rate will be lower in the work efforts. And if it's a weak muscle, you're going to be working harder. The heart rate's going to be higher to pump the same amount of blood, but a stronger muscle pumps that blood. Also, when we get to those vigorous workouts, you're going to feel that pumping and that, that work. You're going to know you're at your edge.
Oh, yeah. And there's a reasoning behind all of this that it is, and I haven't heard of this before. So am I saying this VO2 max?
Yes.
Okay, break this down.
VO2 max is just a technical term that we use to measure the fitness of your heart. So it's a volume of oxygen. O2 is oxygen, V is the volume. So basically, you can measure that, but we don't have to. But once we have a strong heart, the volume of oxygen that you're going to pump in your workouts to your muscle becomes higher. So a strong muscle, you'll have a lower heart rate because it's efficient. It's pumping more oxygen per beat, so our heart rate's lower. But the VO2 max is actually a function of how much oxygen you can pump per beat to your muscle. So it's basically how much oxygen you can utilize in a workout, and we want that number to be high.
Okay, and then as far as like duration, how does that factor in too? So
duration of your, the oxygen that you sustain to your body per beat is going to be throughout your workout, but the burning and the hard part is lactic acid building up. So what we work at is a threshold. So threshold is where we get to that edge of comfort where lactic acid wants to take over and make us want to quit. We're burning, we're like, this is hard, but oxygen,
sounds familiar.
Yeah, but oxygen's buffering that. So if we can stay at our steady state, higher end, then oxygen's going to buffer that burning. You're going to have confidence knowing that you can make it through the workout as long as you can be sustainable, but like talk yourself through it. You're going to know when you can't finish. We'll talk about intervals later, but I feel like if you can stay right at that edge of discomfort, then you're in the win.
That's a good thing. Okay, so how do we know then? I guess when we walk out of, say, we're at a Zumba class or something, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to just make sure you're working hard enough to where when you leave there, you're like,
yeah, I did it, right?
You feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it all over.
Here's what I usually ask myself. The questions that I ask during my workouts are, Is it tough but yet tolerable? So I want to say this is hard, but I can continue.
Okay.
These are the types of things that are going to strengthen the heart. Is where we're to that state where we have to talk ourselves into it. Of course, like music and friends and a timer can help you. Where you're like, hey, I have 10 seconds left. I can do it. It's tough but tolerable. And another thing is where we go. A talk test. Like if you and I were working out together, I would be like, how are you doing? How's the workout? How's your kids? And you're like, I can only say 1, 2, or 3 words to you right now. That 1, 2, or 3 word talk test is a good indication that you're working hard enough. You're opening your mouth, you need more air. You can only say 1, 2, 3 words, and it's tough but tolerable. Those are sustainable high efforts. So in your Zumba class, you're like not having a conversation with your friend, but you're like, I can get through this workout, I think, you know, and I know how long it's gonna last, I can make it through it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for those people that don't really want to work out with other people because they're working out so hard that they don't want to carry a conversation. They're focusing so much on the work.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of an introspective workout, but you're getting the work done. The thing about higher work that we're talking about is you can get more work done in a shorter amount of time. So intervals would be my next step of the intensity. So you've got that talk test and that things we've talked about, but as far as intervals go, you're going to work like in a 1-to-2 ratio or 1-to-1. So I'm going to go on and off. So I'll go to my treadmill and I'll say, okay, I have 20 minutes. I'm going to do 10 of those minutes on and 10 of those minutes off, and I'm going to stagger them. So I'll go 1 minute of, I can't finish this. My next question would be like, I can't make it through this. It's a 60-second or less work. Then I'm going to go off for a minute.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go on and off. So at the end, the peak of those works adds up to a higher rate of calorie burn than if you were to just walk in a lower state the whole way. You'll have a higher rate of calorie burn with intervals, plus your heart will be pumping stronger. And those workouts, you're not going to be able to sustain that one effort. You have to rest, right?
Absolutely. Well, it sounds more impactful. And say you only have 20 minutes or so. If you're doing the intervals, you're really maximizing the time.
Yeah, and I would throw those, if you're kind of in a steady pattern of like, I need more, I'm kind of in a plateau, I would throw those intervals in 2 to 3 times a week and get on there and just push for a minute and rest for a minute, watch your timer, get a good song on, and make sure you get that heart pumping, because that's really how you're going to get stronger, is to work.
Yeah, I love that. Just some really simple things that we can keep in mind. Julie Labrum, Director of Treehouse Athletic Club. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Got some good stuff I got to get started on.
All right, let's go do Zumba together. It'll be fun.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure I can't talk. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.